And I have I have what I would consider 100% faith and trust in my wife. Mm-hmm. But I told her, I told her these words exactly. You're going to get the fucking test, and if not, I'm out the door. Period.
Well, that man bragging about making his wife take a paternity test and humiliating her in front of millions of subscribers for brownie points is Andrew Wilson, the trad life Christian conservative who has so much faith in his wife that he made her take a paternity test.
Also, I told her these words exactly. You're going to get the fucking test, and if not, I'm out the door. Period.
Well, that's not emotional abuse.
Yeah.
Well, they're also that would be considered emotional abuse.
This is totally the normal reaction you would get when talking about your 100% healthy, loving, and trusting relationship. Andrew Wilson and his wife Rachel Wilson are part of the Trad Thought Coalition on the right. Rachel Wilson insulted a young Christian conservative public figure, Isabella DeLuca, for being an immodest thought who's not a real trad Christian conservative like Rachel because she baked a cake fully clothed while daring to have big boobs. Let me ask you a question. Which one of these sounds more traditional to you? Who's more trad? A, the woman staying in the kitchen and baking a cake fully clothed, or B, a divorced woman who had 5 kids from 3 different men? I would say the girl baking the cake sounds a lot more traditional than the divorced woman with 3 different baby daddies attacking the other woman for baking a cake. How is it that sloppy seconds Rachel can attack other women online for not being traditional enough when she sounds like she belongs on an episode of the Maury Povich show?
In the case of 3-year-old Jeremiah William, you are not the
When I was researching this video, I legitimately lost track of which baby daddy had which kid. She really has the audacity to insult single mothers on the regular when she herself is one. She distances herself from that title of single mom by trying to make the distinction of mothers who are single due to being widowed or abandoned. And what a happy coincidence it is that she should fall under that category. Her first husband, who is now her ex-husband, divorced her, and she claims that he abandoned her. But I wouldn't be so quick to believe her, considering that she lies so often about her marriage. She claims that she was married to her husband for 16 years and then claims that she was married to him for 26 years. Now, before you say, oh, it might be a typo because 16 and 26 are kind of close when you type it. But looking back in Rachel's history on her tweets, if you do the math from 2023, where she says she's married for 16 years, and then you subtract it from when she got married with her current husband, and it turns out to only be 11 years of marriage, meaning that she is lying about how long she's been married to make herself look better. Because she hates when you call her a single mom. She's not like those other single mothers. And you know what? She's right. Most other single mothers don't have 3 baby daddies. And the cherry on top here is that she had a baby out of wedlock. Meaning, if you do the math here from when she says she gave birth and when their wedding date is, her husband married her because she got pregnant. And that's why he made her take the paternity test to see if it was his child, because he doesn't trust her and would not have married her without one. Which is why later on, Rachel demanded that paternity tests be the norm so that she is not embarrassed or ashamed that her husband did not actually have 100% trust and faith in her.
I have what I would consider 100% faith and trust in my wife.
And her husband, Andrew, here is in on the lie as well, of course, claiming that she never said anything about being married for 16 years, when she clearly did countless times, and so did Andrew.
Yeah, I've been with the same woman for 18, 20 years, something like that.
We're going to dive a little bit deeper into the Cakegate rabbit hole today, as there have been some interesting developments since my last video on it. But before that, I want to show you guys some candles that we made at Reed Street Soap. This one is my favorite one. It's called Chocolate Kiss, and it has gold glitter in it. It's really pretty, and it's great for Valentine's Day. It smells exactly like melting chocolate. It's definitely my favorite one so far. It actually has rainbow sparkles in it as well. You can see it when I'm turning it. It's so beautiful. Honestly, it smells even better than it looks. This one is great for Valentine's Day. This one I helped design because my birthday is coming up. It's Aquarius season, and it has an amethyst, which is for February, poking out of it. Don't you love that you get a free crystal when you burn the candle? It smells like magic cherry blossoms, which is the perfect scent for this. Like, think of the falling Japanese cherry blossoms in February. That's what this smells like. This candle with the beautiful bright blue is called Blue Crush, and it's designed to be a men's candle. If I had to describe this, it smells like when a guy just gets out of the shower. So if you want to give a gift to your man for Valentine's Day, or if you're a guy, I would recommend this one. Or maybe if you're a lonely girl on Valentine's Day and you want to smell like there's a man around. If you spend at least $50 on Reed Street Soap's candles, you will get a free birthday candle in honor of my day. Make sure before you check out you use code CUPCAKE if you want the free birthday cupcake candle. Anyways, back to the video. After I released my Cakegate video, Rachel seemed offended by my video pointing out that she was overweight, so she made a Twitter post explaining why she was fat and how she no longer is fat, and that she's living her healthy, fit, trad wife life. So here we have this very masculine looking picture of Rachel that she posted, and it's interesting that in the post she's saying, hey, I'm not fat anymore, but the picture is not actually time-stamped, meaning it could have been taken at any time. And not only that, but in the photo she posted, the lighting is very dim and she's wearing black clothing, trying to prove that she's not fat. People en masse responded to this picture of Rachel, saying that she still looks fat. And also with the photo not being timestamped, the reason I also don't trust it, despite it not really being a clear photo in the first place, is because this isn't Rachel's first time catfishing. Rachel catfishes by using a photo of herself in her thumbnails that was taken in 2020. Not only is it an outdated photo, but it also doesn't really reflect how she looks in live streams. Depending on how old you are, a lot can change in 4 years with how you look, but especially as you get older, for someone like Rachel who is in her 40s, 4 years can make a huge difference in someone's face, and in Rachel's case, I feel like it does. When I was looking through the comments, somebody pointed out that Rachel's nips are poking through the shirt, and they are. I can't show it on screen, but what is with this trad thought coalition getting on other girls' cases about not being modest trad Christian conservatives, but then they themselves will post themselves with their nipples poking through their shirt? Like in the last video it was Pearl, and now in this video it's Rachel. Why can't she wear a bra? And if she has a problem with bras, at least use some nipple covers if you're going to be on your high horse about modesty. And it's not surprising someone noticed that, considering the whole post is her drawing attention to her body, which is hypocritical to her whole point, complaining about girls grifting and getting attention and simp fishing. Sloppy Seconds Rachel dedicates this entire post drawing attention to her body, talking about how she lost weight with her nipples poking through her shirt, but somehow that's not attention seeking. But God forbid Cake Girl bakes a cake in her kitchen fully clothed with no nips poking out. I think it should be pretty obvious at this point that Sloppy Seconds is attention seeking and she's just jealous that she can't effortlessly get the same amount of attention. Cake Girl gets it without having to show her nipples and blaming her fatness on thyroid issues. It seems like every woke obese person blames their obesity on thyroid issues, so it was a huge red alert when I saw Rachel blaming her weight on her thyroid issues. So I went through Sloppy Seconds' social media, and she has a long history of posting the food that she makes. So let's count her calories and see if it's actually those thyroid issues or if it's her just overeating. I'm going to be conservative with my estimates here. It's probably going to be more than what I say, but I would say this is about 300 calories a bagel times 2, so we're already at 600 calories of bread. I would say that looks like it's about 2 eggs per bagel, and 1 egg is 70 calories, so that would total 280 calories. I can't see if there's cheese in this, so I won't count it. Maybe she just makes really bland, disgusting food. And I don't know if she cooked this in butter or oil, but she chose one of them, and that's usually around 50 to 100 calories depending. Over here, there's about 150 to 200 calories of potatoes on the side. So that's about 1,130 calories for breakfast, not including knowing how much oil or butter that she used. 1,100 calories is almost your entire day's worth of calories, just for breakfast. I know that the caption implies that this is to get the family going with a hot breakfast, but the thing is, as you scroll through her Instagram, all of the meals she posts are always for one person. This meal served by Sloppy for her husband is captioned, "Hangover breakfast for Papa," meaning not only is Andrew going to eat this entire breakfast, which we will break down in a second, but also the night before, he drank so much that he had a hangover. So if he drank enough to have a hangover, that means for someone of his size, he would have to drink probably around 6 to 8 beers, depending on how much of an alcoholic he is. And one beer is 140 calories on the light side. One egg is around 70 calories. Let's say that the Wonder Bread here is 100 calories, again, being conservative. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. I can't see the one under there, but let's say 5 sausages that are around 100 calories each, which by the way is processed food. Rachel often claims that she makes her food from scratch. I don't know what kind of scratch this is, but so you have 5 to 6 sausages, and it looks like it's around 6 pieces of bacon here. Each slice of bacon is probably around 40 calories, so that's around 240 calories of bacon. And then we have these potatoes under here. Assuming that they're not processed slop like how the sausage is, it's probably around 200 to 300 calories. There's a lot of potato there. So this hangover breakfast for Puffy Papa here is around 1,200 calories after a full night of drinking. If you were to say he drank 6 beers, that's around 840 calories on the conservative side. If Sloppy is feeding her husband like this and doesn't know how many calories she's feeding him, imagine what she feeds herself. She posts a lot of these meals that she makes for her husband with these teehee captions like, "Enhancing his toxic masculinity. My husband was hungry. My husband needs sustenance." Your husband doesn't need sustenance. He needs to eat less. Here's another meal Sloppy made for her husband, and it's a Denny's 3 a.m. stale breakfast. I have to say, for someone who's supposedly been cooking for decades and had 5 children, she sure doesn't cook like it. Her food is very beginner level and it looks super average. You have this burnt bacon here with some burnt potatoes, with some cut up hot dog. I'm sorry, but this is just not what I envisioned to be the ultimate trad wife meal. She could have added some fresh herbs, some vegetables, or maybe some chives on the egg if you're going for presentation points. Her technique looks really bad. I mean, that bacon is burnt to a crisp at the end. Even for someone who likes crispy bacon, this is too much. This is overcooked. The cut up hot dogs in here just look random, like she threw it in there because, you know, her husband needed the extra calories. Her technique isn't impressive and she burns a lot of her food. We have the presentation, which is bad to mediocre at best. Probably tastes about as good as it looks. And most of the meals that she's posted are things that beginners can make on their first try. And honestly, they probably wouldn't burn the bacon this bad. Let's go over Denny's 3:30 a.m. stale breakfast. 300 calories of burnt potatoes, 95 calories of Wonder Bread. Being conservative is probably like 400 calories of hot dog cut up, whatever disease looking mystery meat this is. Bacon is around 40 calories each. It looks like there's maybe 4 or 5 strips of bacon, so that's probably around 200 calories of bacon. This slop that she's feeding her hungry husband is over 1,000 calories just for breakfast. And I could go on forever about this. She's posted a lot of food that she's made, but basically you either have a bunch of high calorie dense meals that are no less than 1,000 calories per serving, or a bunch of the desserts that she made. So this meal, for example, might have been supplemented by a 500 calorie piece of cheesecake. I'm sorry, but baking is for fat people. They would sooner know how to bake than they would know how to cook food properly. Citation. Imagine you marry a divorced single mom thinking that you're getting a trad wife that's going to cook you good homemade meals from scratch, and then you just get a bunch of processed burnt food, and imagine you get fat over eating her processed burnt food. Oh my god. If you're gonna get fat, at least make it worth it. Like, if I'm gonna get fat, it's gonna be over some pumpkin pie, or maybe over some fried chicken I'd gain some weight for. That would be worth it, but not for this slop. And then her kids have to eat this too. I would hate to be them. So was she fat over her thyroid issues, or is it because she overeats? You know, and this is why Rachel didn't want to call into my stream, because I would have gone over this food and counted the calories with her. And I know that people are going to say, oh, well, she's a mom, she had 5 kids, and she's in her 40s, so you can't expect her to not be fat. First off, excuses, wrong. Second off, I'm going to prove my point. I don't want to hear the excuses when Jordan Peterson's daughter was this skinny after 2 weeks of having a baby. But Rachel can't can't pull this off even after years because she's gluttonous. Sloppy seconds Rachel puts down other women for not living as healthy and fit of a stay-at-home mom, trad wife life as she is. Meanwhile, she's not only using illness as an excuse to get attention to her body, but to also excuse her gluttony and slothing around. Those are 2 of the 7 deadly sins that Christianity speaks against. You know, this wasn't an oopsie mistake. This is a lifestyle that they are living. I get that Christianity has forgiveness, but come on, practice what you preach here. Sloppy Rachel had children out of wedlock and also has several baby daddies. That's not very traditional and Christian. But they're out here judging others and purity spiraling. Rachel insulted Cake Girl for being a slut, so did Andrew. Sloppy Rachel also insulted me, calling me a slut, calling me stupid, and her husband did the same thing on his stream. He called me a moron and started insulting me before he had even watched my video. And he was stressing this stream talking about me. That was like his 12th cigarette. Imagine the stench of that room and how badly he stinks. You would think for a guy that smokes so much, he wouldn't eat so much.
Like, there's nothing I like more than being in this arena and tangling, especially with morons, whom I consider Brittany Venti to be a stellar example of a moron.
There's actually a Bible verse about this. 1 Peter 3:9. Do not repay evil with evil or insult with insult. On the contrary, repay evil with blessing, because to this you were called, so that you may inherit a blessing. I'm not calling myself evil here, but it literally says in their book that they're supposed to abide by to not repay insult with insult. Do these people seem like good Christians to you? Addict Andrew, who can't get enough of alcohol and cigarettes and food, is out here claiming he's the good Christian. But meanwhile, Puffy here on his 12th cigarette is busy plastering OnlyFans girls' breasts on his thumbnails. These OnlyFans girls' biggest promotions come from these manosphere podcasts like Fresh and Fit.
What happens is they hate themselves because they're incel losers, their audience, and they see you and they're attracted to you, and then they can't help it because they want to see more, and they're actually secret simps, but they hate themselves for being simps, so then they subscribe to your OnlyFans and hate themselves for it, so then they go back on Fresh and Fit and watch women get bullied to kind of make themselves feel better. At least with that audience, that's what I noticed.
That's how that works.
These OnlyFans girls, their biggest promotion comes from these manosphere podcasts like Fresh and Fit, and Andrew is copying their formula.
When you got kicked off of Fresh and Fit the first time, how much money did you make, girl, afterwards? Like,
Fresh and Fit, there's no one that does more for OnlyFans women than Fresh and Fit. Myron, one of the hosts, wrote a book, Why Women Deserve Less. You are the number one, you have helped sex workers more than anybody, I think, in the world. You have given us the world. Every time I come on your show, my money goes way up. And then he kicked me off, and then he invited me back on. So
he is copying the formula of some of the biggest supporters of OnlyFans girls. How traditional and Christian of him. So anyway, I want to tell you guys more about what happened after I released my video on Cakegate. So in response to Rachel responding to my video, essentially me pointing out that she's overweight, and she posted that photo of her that wasn't time-stamped, I told her to call into my stream since she had such pleasant words to say about me on Twitter. So she said no unless there's a moderator. So she won't call into my stream to say what she has to say to me directly. And not only that, but she and her addict husband kept creating new threads on Twitter to make it look like I wasn't replying when she responded to me about wanting to call in, but only with a moderator. She also tried to make me look bad by lying and saying I blocked her, and then she backtracked when I called her out. A moderator is completely unnecessary, and the reason she wants one is to shield her because she's scared of what I would say to her. For example, if I went over these meals and how many calories they are with her on the live stream, what is she going to say? It would be pretty embarrassing. Also, with the moderator thing, I tried to get one to get Rachel to at least come on and talk to me, and it fell through because Chrissy was going to moderate, but then she wanted to host it, but I wanted to host it because I'm the one who made the Cakegate video and put days of research and work and editing into it. And Chrissy said she felt that it wouldn't be fair unless it was hosted on a third party, but I disagree. Sloppy Rachel / her husband have people on, and they have a moderator quotation, but he doesn't actually do anything. He just sits there silent the whole time. So I don't see why I need a moderator when they essentially don't even use one when they talk to people. I also don't agree it needs to be on a third-party platform or that we need a moderator, considering that other streamers have people call in, like Destiny or Turkey Tom. They let people call in and argue with them. So I think the real reason that Sloppy Rachel wanted a moderator was to try to shut me down and prevent me from saying what she didn't want me to say. Sloppy Rachel also said that she was worried that I would mute her, which she has no evidence to go off of that I mute anybody, and really it just seems like projection. But her saying that I would mute her is just some made-up excuse that she can't call into my stream. She could also record or dual stream when she calls in if she really felt like I would be as bad faith as her husband. So after the debate falls through because we can't decide who should host the stream, I say screw this, and I told Sloppy that my original invitation still stands. Call into my stream. Call in since you contest me saying that you're overweight. Come on camera and tell me what you have to say to my face. So then, scared Sloppy hides behind her husband, who comes on to our Simpcast episode live where the topic of Cakegate came up, and he is having a good old drunken melty in the chat in front of everyone. Live, because he knows that Sloppy will be there to make him his 1,500 calorie breakfast after his hangover. Get your rose lattes ready because I'm about to spill the tea. In middle of the Simpcast episode being live streamed, Addict Andrew goes into the live stream chat and demands that he be invited on to this Simpcast episode so he can dispel this fiction being spoken about Sloppy, who, by the way, prior to this happening, was invited to join Simpcast the next week, despite him saying how boring and unbearable it is to speak to women. He was absolutely begging to come on to an all-female podcast.
Most women, they never have anything interesting to say, and so I don't actually care about what they say. And so I feel like they're just talking, and I'm just kind of nodding my head. I just kind of want the exchange to be over so I can get on in life and do other things that I consider more meaningful, like watching paint dry on the wall. I'm not particularly good company for women because sometimes they'll be talking to me and I'll literally just get up and walk out of the room because I just don't care what they're saying. I don't give a shit what they're saying. I don't care what they're saying. It doesn't make any sense. I'm just like, okay, what? And they're sometimes they'll be talking to me. I don't even know what they're talking about. I'm just like, what the fuck are you even talking? Just get up and leave. For women, I don't dislike women. They're not very enjoyable to be around, and they just kind of talk at you.
Please, Chrissy, let me on. Let me at 'em. Let me talk to the women. They can't talk about my sloppy wife like that. Wah! So he goes on to insult Simpcast, the guests, and he also insults Chrissy, who was not hosting that night because she had just gotten done throwing up all day from being pregnant, so Anna was hosting the stream. Imagine you're throwing up all day and then some guy DMs you this. Fuck off, Mayor. You could have easily allowed us to defend ourselves while our accusers were there. He makes it sound like it was SA or something. He's so mad. Not my first time in the you talk shit, now you turn to talk shit rodeo. I got no problems with Frank. He's fine. Isn't that interesting how he has no problems with the guy? You know, the guy that could actually square up with him instead of the pregnant woman who just got done throwing up all day? I was talking smack in chat to him, but I get he's just trying to run a show. Oh yeah, give him the pass, but always blame women. Sounds a lot like the manosphere. He backpedaled that real quick with a man though. So Frank's just trying to run a show. But you brats, yeah. Not interested. If this is how it is, this is how it is. Rachel's too good for you all, literally. Genius academic, and you let dumb skanks rail her with lies and wouldn't allow a word of pushback. How did you think it would go with us being pals? Chrissy, we are literally not friends anymore. You let those dumb skanks talk shit about my sloppy wife. I'll have you know she is literally a genius academic.
Whenever I see like e-boys that are like big internet male figures, they get so feminine. I've never seen men partake in so much drama in my life than men on the internet.
You know, these e-boys and their little gossip sessions. So as a result of this, because Tree of Logic was on this stream, she issues the same challenge that I issued to Rachel, who was running away, avoiding it, using her husband as a shield, and she told Addict Andrew to call into her stream and defend Sloppy. Isn't it interesting how he will 1v1, but suddenly Rachel can't do the same thing and call into my stream and needs a moderator? That's interesting because her husband doesn't. Shortly after joining Tree's stream, he proceeds to mute her. After all that fuss Sloppy made about how I was going to mute her, meanwhile her husband does exactly that. So he mutes Tree, and the only thing you could see on the screen is a slideshow of Tree doing her dominatrix work that she's retired from. She's very open about how she did dominatrix work, and she talks about it like every other stream, so I don't understand what he thought he was exposing. Clearly he doesn't watch her content. So he's showing adult content that will either get Tree a strike for live streaming it, or it will get her live stream demonetized. And Andrew knows that, which is why he was streaming on Rumble. He did not stream this on YouTube. So yeah, essentially Andrew tries to mess with Tree's money by getting her live stream either a strike or possibly getting it demonetized, because he, like his wife that's hiding behind him, are too cowardly to actually hear what she has to say. He was scared what she's gonna say, so he's muting her, blocking the audience from seeing Tree talking about how his wife pimped out her daughter to groypers, and all they're seeing is a slideshow of her doing dom work, which resulted in said groyper not only increasing her body count to 1, but also blackmailing her family with her nudes for them to not speak out against Nick Fuentes.
Leading up to a debate I had scheduled with Ethan Ralph, with Big Tech, I got a call from my daughter's ex-boyfriend, and he basically threatened me, right? He said that he was going to do horrible things to me and my family. He's going to do horrible things to her. He said, it's because Fuentes is my king, and you're going after my king, and I'm going to do horrible things to you, right? Essentially. If you show up to that debate, I'm going to do horrible things to you, horrible things to your daughter. But he's like, if you show up to this debate, if you show up, I'm going to ruin her entire life.
And this is completely Sloppy Mommy's fault. She's over here bragging that her daughter's a virgin, and now she's not because of her. And she's probably very traumatized from this, from her mother getting her into this situation. But Andrew's audience wouldn't know that, because not only did he mute Tree and block the screen she was showing and explaining what had happened, but also he deleted his live stream. Luckily, I saved it.
This is where I live. This is why I was scoring the internet for suitors for my daughter. Can you believe this? Pimping out her daughter. She wants her daughter to be a single baby mama like she was.
So on Andrew's stream here, this is his audience's perspective. All they see is Tree's former domination pics, with Tree muted with this music playing. So because this is Addict Andrew's audience's POV, they cannot see what Tree is talking about, they cannot see her screen, and he muted her so that they cannot hear what she's saying. Versus on Tree's stream, this is her audience's perspective, and they're able to see and hear everything for the entire duration of the stream.
Here we have her pimping out one of her daughters. She's a dream wife for a groyper? Hello? Are you not going to say nothing?
Yeah, Tree,
okay,
anyway.
So
you're still not going
to dream of a wife for a groyper is not a good enough feel for to scroll on. And so she says, so they're asking, hey, I want to know more about your daughter. I'm interested in basically, getting her to be one of my slaves. So then she says, she's still of a wife who had 3 kids, actually 4 kids. She had 3 or 4 kids. Unfortunately, one of them
freaking out.
She had 4 kids by 3 other men. No, 2 men. You're the third one. You're the cousin that basically took her on, and with her baggage and her other kids. Won't deny that. And then here she goes, no baggage, but I'm her mom, so obviously I will be offended by your language. And then she has another one. I don't know. She likes a bunch. So this one is asking, I think they're asking about anime.
She's still freaking out. So it says,
I don't know. She's pimping them out like, yo, you're going to love this. She ain't even touched by nobody. So come here and get some of this. You know what I'm saying?
She's still
so anyway, we're going to go to the next one where we're showing how you're basically a whore is whoring out her daughter. Isn't that something?
Still freaking out.
Oh.
Right after Tree gets done explaining how Rachel pimping out her daughter resulted in her getting engaged to a guy who eventually blackmailed her family over what's implied to be her nudes, he then rage quits the stream.
Pimped them out in April, they hooked up in May, and then all of a sudden they got engaged in October? In October? Oh, he left. He left. He left. He left. He left. He left. He left.
So essentially, his little tactic didn't work and he lost. He lost at the blood sports. So these people are most definitely not good Christians and are literally the definition of the word grifter. Speaking of grifters, after this whole ordeal, Trad thought Isabella comes into the fight. So OF Isabella is out here tweeting pictures of Tree's retired domination photos where she's very open about it. And she fails to see the irony of her doing that, considering that she has those inappropriate photos of herself where she's in lingerie showing her behind and kissing another woman. So my point of mentioning this is the contrast here. So we have Tree, who's open about her past of doing dom work and she's okay with it, and she also is bisexual. But then we have Trad Isabella, who is not honest about her past and only spoke on it after she was called out on it. She would have just continued lying by omission. This photo that Tree showed was only from about a year and a half ago. So how are you sucking your friend's boobs a year and a half ago in middle of the karaoke bar, but then you're gonna insult Cake Girl for not being modest and trad enough for baking a cake in her kitchen? So how is that Isabella could have photos that are more sexual than a dominatrix from as recently as like a year and a half ago, but then she's tweeting Tree's dom photos like she's exposing something? The difference is Tree is open and honest about it. Trad Isabella was not. Tree is also not held to the ethics code or the moral code of her religion, unlike Trad Isabella, who is held to the moral code of being a Christian and also throws stones at other people for, quote, not being traditional and Christian enough. The reason that I'm pointing it out and why Tree is pointing it out is the dishonesty about living a Christian lifestyle. It's one thing to have a past and genuinely change as a person, but this is not one of those situations. Seriously, the photos are on par with OF content as recently as a year and a half ago, but now you're a traditional Christian who gets to toss your stones at other women for baking in the kitchen, for literally staying in the kitchen. They're taking Christianity and using it as a shield for their bad actions and lifestyle that conflicts with Christianity that they're still living. These are going to be the people that others point to when they're like, see, that's why I don't want to be part of that. If I were a Christian and living a trad wife life, I would be really pissed seeing these people making a perversion of it. They're just making a complete mockery of Christianity and just cherry picking what they want to follow and then throw stones at others who do the same things that they did. These people are so cliquish and purity spiral so much, but they're the ones who should actually be kicked out of the Christianity club for not living the actual lifestyle. Thank you for watching the video, and a special thanks to my producers from Patreon who support my content. Like the video, subscribe, feel free to purchase the rose tea latte from Reed Street Soap. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.